Space podcasts. So I want to talk about a few of the things that I'm noticing in terms of like a space consciousness, in terms of what a lot of people seem to be focusing on. And I have a few different sources. So I listen to quite a few, when I have time, space podcasts because I'm interested in all exponential technologies. But I wouldn't say I listen to quite a few because I don't have that much time. But I'm interested in summaries. I pick and choose, the best episodes and parts of episodes. So there's the Deep Space podcast, which is really helpful for learning in terms of some of the plans for space. Like, let me go there. And so some of the recent episodes are the Leadership in Space series. So this is called Space Podcast, but it could also be Space Podcast on YouTube because there's a lot of great things on YouTube, like Isaac Arthur, and there's another one that I was watching today. I think it's called Deep Space, or if I could find it on my laptop. But anyway, let's go back to the podcast part of it. But I think that what's happening now is that about 2 years ago or so, perhaps, the consciousness about settling Mars was kind of like new, like, oh, we could settle Mars. Like Elon Musk was planning it for some time, but it had really sunk it into consciousness. And now it's the consciousness, I think, is more kind of like a post-Mars settlement, like what happens after Mars. And it's also like getting into a lot of the more specifics in terms of what Mars colonization would be like, issues of terraforming and issues of habitation, issues of energy, creation on Mars, issues of transport and design. I watched yesterday a little bit. Elon Musk was on Code 21, Kara Swisher. I mean, they have a long history of talks together. And he was talking, they're a lot focused on space, and he was talking a lot about how, they're still early into it, that the Starlink is going to, provide, hopefully, tens of billions of dollars to fund their travels to space and moon, and kind of like the timetable in terms of like when certain things are happening. A lot of space podcasts are focusing on that also. And I think that, so breaking Mars down into more granularity, like looking at the missions on Mars, that, the rovers are already there, and China and NASA, what they want to do, and, obviously what SpaceX is doing. And then I think, it's kind of like I just said, the post-Mars era, like what are we going to do next after Mars? Is it going to be like sending the light sails to Alpha Centauri? Is it going to be like advances in propulsion to be able to go further? Is it going to be advances in telescope? Is it going to be asteroid mining? Is it going to be, more in-depth examinations of other potential stops after Mars, whether it be, Ceres or the asteroid belt, or, Europa, or things like that. Also, like better understanding our galaxy, better understanding our sun, and then I think most people obviously after Mars are focused on the solar system, but also longer term planning in terms of like what happens when we become a Type 1 civilization. Apparently we're like 0.7 right now, where we can control all the energy on our planet. The next thing after that is controlling all the energy in our solar system. Focus on, structures related to that, Dyson sphere and things like that. So I think, just to recap again, there's two primary emphases in space that I'm seeing right now. One is kind of like a more granular examination of what life on Mars would really be like and what it takes to do that. And then I think, and also the moon secondarily, because, all these trips to space and Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, and related to that and the moon and Mars, I would say, is the space economy, like how we transport things through space and how people make money in space. So that's the first thing, all those things together. You could call it maybe Mars, moon, everything in that orbit between Earth, Mars, and moon kind of like a triangle, perhaps. I don't know the exact geography of it, but and then I think the second thing is the post-Mars inquiry in terms of, like I mentioned, the asteroid belt, examination of other planets and things, places we could go after Mars, examination of our sun, and things of that nature. So let me just go back to the podcast. There's a couple other podcasts that I really like. One is Planetary Radio. I'm just going through my list of podcasts and see if I find a few more. I have a lot of other interests besides space, so there's a lot that's there. But I think those are two of the major ones. And I think, space consciousness, I think a lot more people are actually making their living, in the space field now, so it's pretty exciting.